So we're back with Mystery Mugs in Melanin. If you're new, my name is Crystal.
And I'm Celine.
And if you're returning, welcome back to your favorite coffee fueled podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the often overlooked cases of women of color. All right, y'all, we're so happy to have y'all back this week with another episode. Celine, how are you doing this week?
It's been a pretty busy week, but it's good. And like you said, I'm happy to be back as well with another episode.
Right.
How was your week?
I had a good week. As you know, I did travel back to Louisiana, where
Mhm.
me and Selena are both from Louisiana. So I traveled back to Louisiana, did some family things, ate some good food, and now I'm
Mm.
back.
Where's my boudin?
Your Buddha is in the freezer. Uh,
She's trying to hijack my boudin.
I am. I am. And if you don't know what Boudin is, research it. Boudin.
We won't get into that discussion again.
No, we're not gonna.
So we do have a lot of upcoming cases that we plan to cover, and we actually even got a case request in our case request form. It will be linked down below in the description box. Please, we are more than happy to receive any requests that we can get, because we obviously don't know every case, and
Right.
if you see something that you want to give more attention to, shine a light on, please let us know and submit a form request it's in the description below.
Yes, please do. And thank you to the person who did give us a request, and we are looking into it. And with that said, Celine, what do you have in your cup today?
So today is just kind of a hot coffee, regular hot coffee. I don't do sugar or anything. It's a black coffee.
Ooh.
Sometimes I do cream, but today I'm just a black coffee. I kind of need a little boost of energy anyway. What about you? What's in your cup?
So apparently I'm becoming a hot coffee girl. I don't know what's up with that. But so I, as y'all, I just said, I went home to Louisiana, and our coffee out there is community coffee, and I brought some back.
Ooh.
I know they sell it here, but it's way more expensive. So I got it back home and I brought it here. So I'm drinking my community coffee with a little stevia and cream.
Nice,
Yep.
nice. I haven't had community coffee in a while.
They do sell it here. It's just like twice as much, I feel.
I have a favorite coffee, but community is a
I
favorite.
know you. I know your favorite.
So, what's our case for today, Crystal?
All right, so today we will be delving into the case of Mitrice Richardson. And this is a case that I feel has gotten some media coverage. I know that, we like to focus on cases that do not get as much media coverage. But this is just a super interesting case. And I thought that I would bring it to you guys in case you have never heard of it, or, just a little refresher to keep her case up front. All right, so this case all takes place in the year 2009 when Mitrice Richardson was 24 years old. She was born April 30th, 1985, which means she is pretty close in age to us. So,
Mhm.
that kind of hits close to home that, you know, this all happened when we were about 24, 23, 24, 25. Um, she was born to her mother, Latrice Sutton, and her father, Michael Richardson. She was raised by her mother and stepfather, Larry Sutton. So she grew up in Covina, California, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, which is about 20 miles from downtown Los Angeles. All right, so I just want to highlight a few things that her family members said about her, just so we can kind of get a feel of the type of woman that Mitrice was. So Mitrice's mother says Mitrice was a joy growing up. She was such a ball of energy. She loved to laugh and she loved to joke. Her dad said she was my heartbeat. She was
Mhm.
my everything. Her aunt Laura Sutton also made a statement saying she was a beauty queen, she was a cheerleader, She was an amazing student. She was very loving, a vivacious personality, full of life. I mean, she would walk into a room and she would make sure that everyone took notice. So, as you can see, she just was, seems like she was just a joy to the
To
family
and to
and
be
just
around.
vibrant. Right.
Yeah.
Mitrice graduated from South Hills High School, and then she went on to get her Bachelor of Arts with a major in psychology. She graduated from California State University, Fullerton in 2008. So she had just graduated from college a year before. In 2009, at the time of her disappearance, she was living with her grandmother, Mildred, in South LA. So in 2009, Mitrice was dating her girlfriend Tessa, and they had been dating for about 2 years. She had also competed in a beauty pageant, worked as an intern for a forensic psychologist, and
Wow.
she was a part-time dancer in an LGBTQ strip club.
Seems like she had a pretty full life.
Right. She had a lot going on. She had a lot going for her. She was very involved. All right. So on September 16th of 2009, Mitrice left work early. She was working at a freight forwarding service in Santa Fe Springs. And just a side note, later her boss said that she was kind of floating around the warehouse that day. So she wasn't really being herself that day. And then when she left from work, she went over to her Aunt Laura's house. And her Aunt Laura was not home, did not answer the door. But my tree started taking her business cards and putting them all over the front porch, in plants, just um wherever.
Her own business cards.
Yes.
Okay.
And she also left a note on her uncle's truck that was out there. And in the note was the words, "Who is Queen now, Mississippi?" And I assume there was other things in the note, but that's just what I've seen highlighted. So
Mhm.
not sure what that was about.
Is this normal for my trees?
No, this was out of character. This was really out of character for her. So, sometime later on that same evening, she headed up the coast and she ended up at a restaurant called Jeffrey's. And this was a restaurant that a lot of celebrities frequented. It was not a cheap restaurant, it was more of a high end restaurant. Okay, so when she got to the restaurant, she valeted her car. The valet driver said her car was really just a mess, a mess. And then she was acting strange when she got there as well. She jumped in the valet's car and started messing around in his things. And when he asked her if she was okay, she said it's subliminal. That's what she
Hmm.
told him. So, like I said, none of this is was common for her. This was not
Right.
how she normally acted. And she also was talking about numbers and the language of numbers and saying that she was here to avenge Michael Jackson's death. And she's telling all this to the valet driver. So I'm sure he's super confused on what's going on.
Hmm.
Then she went into the restaurant. Once she was seated, she ended up getting up and going over to a group of people who were in the restaurant, a group of people that she didn't know, and she ended up sitting with those people. And that group of people, when they were questioned, they described her as mentally ill. They just thought that, she was just a mentally ill person. She was speaking in riddles. They couldn't understand what she was talking about. But so while at the restaurant, she orders $89 worth of food. She had a steak and a cocktail. But when it came time to pay her bill, she refused to pay the bill. So, you can't just eat $100 worth of food and then refuse to pay for it.
Right.
So,
Did she give a reason for not wanting to pay the bill?
um, no, she didn't give like a direct reason that I've seen that she's given. But she was acting real bizarre, and the restaurant decided to just call the police because she wasn't paying for the meal, and her behaviors were concerning.
Hmm.
So once the officers arrived, they did a sobriety test, and they discovered that she wasn't drunk, she wasn't under the influence,
Okay.
and she was arrested for not paying the bill. And she was in possession of less than an ounce of marijuana. So that's that. That means nothing really.
Not well now, but my concern is that the people at the restaurant are saying that she's acting not, obviously they don't know, but they assume she was a mentally ill person, and so she's arrested for not paying her
Well,
tab.
from what I read, it seems like some of the workers were more concerned about her well being and they wanted to get her help because they didn't know what to do. But then, of course, there were other workers that were concerned about the fact she wasn't paying.
Yeah.
So when she was arrested, her purse, her money, everything was locked inside of her car. Because mind you, she was refusing to pay, but she had money. When they checked her account, she had enough money to pay the bill. So I have no idea why she was refusing to pay the bill.
I wonder if there was any type of communication or like a conversation with the between her and the police officers, like, if you pay this bill, we'll let you go. They just want you to pay the bill,
I
you know
don't know.
especially if she had the money. Or I wonder if it just was an automatic, like, okay, this something's wrong here, she's refusing,
I don't
she's
know
obviously doesn't have the money, let's arrest her.
because I don't know. But as we go deeper, you see that the police officers were a little in this
Okay.
case, but I would assume, I would hope that they will allow her, give her the chance to pay, give her the choice, pay or get arrested. But I'm not sure.
I'm not. So, just to kind of preface this, I have heard of the case before. I'm not super familiar with Matrice's case, but I have heard her case referenced before, especially, I guess, spoiler, her remains were in that
Hmm.
area. It ended up being a place where they found multiple um bodies there at one point, and so her case was referenced as, is there something going on in this area?
Mm,
So I'll keep asking questions because, like I said, I'm not 100% familiar with her case.
right. Because this case has been in the media. I'm not gonna say that it hasn't been in the media. There's been episodes on true crime shows of
Oh,
this case, and other podcasters have talked about this case before.
mm,
So there is some things floating around
okay.
about it. Okay, so she was arrested and she was taken to the Malibu Lost Pines Police Department because the restaurant was in Malibu. And I also want to take it back and just say that when all of this was going on, she was trying to call her grandmother, but it was late at night or it was nighttime and her grandmother wasn't answering the phone. So just to put that out there, she was trying to call her grandmother. I don't know why, but she was. Her mom learned of the arrest and she contacted the police department. She asked them not to release her daughter until she got there because her daughter had no car. She wasn't familiar with the area and she just wanted to come and get her
She had
child.
no purse. She had
Right. She had
nothing.
nothing. Everything was in her car and the car was towed. The car was
Wasn't
left
even at
behind.
the restaurant anymore.
Right. So her mom was like, please just let me come get her. If you release her, she has nowhere to go. No one to come get her. This is before Uber times. I
Hmm.
assume 2009 Uber was not a thing. Um, but the, nevertheless, they released her. Now, mind you, on the phone, they told her mom that they were not going to release her.
Hmm.
So the mom was thinking they were going to hold her, she would be safe because the mom was just saying, it's nighttime, don't put my daughter out. And
Where would she go at
exactly,
night? If you release
exactly,
her, she has no car. There's no one waiting outside for her because her mom is telling them, I'm coming to get her, just wait. If you release her at night, where's she gonna go?
exactly. So the officer reassured the mom, told her, we're going to keep her until tomorrow. Well, that didn't happen. So the next day, Latrice, Mitrice's mom, called the station, and then she was told that they released Mitrice at 12:28 a.m. So in the
Oh,
middle of the night, they released her. She had no phone. She had no belongings, no car, anything. And they said she was released because she showed no signs of mental illness or intoxication, and she was an adult.
okay, but
So a 24-year-old,
they didn't offer to give her a ride home or call her a cab. She has no purse.
nothing. She had nothing. So now it's September 17th. She was released early in the morning. She was spotted that morning 5.5 miles away from the police station in the backyard of Bill and Karen Smith. This
Okay.
was a neighborhood in Calabasas. So we know, money. There's a rich neighborhood. The neighborhood was called Mani Nido. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. All right. So Bill Smith called the cops when he saw Mitrice walking through his backyard. He said he described her as tall, skinny black woman with afro hair. She had jeans or tight pants and a t-shirt. Karen said that she called out to her and asked her if she was okay, and she responded with, "Yes, I'm just resting." When they looked again, she had disappeared from their sight. So the police officers, they did not connect that the woman that Bill and Karen Smith saw was Mitrice.
Of course.
But at this point, we're not knowing that Mitrice is missing, I guess. So they're not putting two and two together. They just know
Yeah.
they released Mitrice.
What I'm sorry. I'm still stuck. Where did they think she was going to go with
I'm thinking they didn't care where she was going to go. They were just releasing her and bon voyage,
Valid?
find your way, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So there are and I've heard some recordings. There are recordings of her mom calling the police station. She was completely worried. She kept telling them like, my daughter is not she's not street smart. She isn't going to know what to do. She's not familiar with the area. So her mom was super worried. Um she called, she was very well spoken, not being belligerent or anything like that. So there was no reason for them to like just try to get her off the shut her up and get her off the phone. Like she really was just trying to let them know, like, this is not my daughter. Please don't let her just out there. Okay, so after Bill and Karen saw this woman, that was the last sighting of Mitrice Richardson, and after that, she was reported missing and never to be seen alive again after that.
Did the police go to their house? Is it
The police went to Bill and Karen's house, but they never put two and two together that this was Mitrice.
Oh, okay. And by the
So they
time
were
they got
just,
there, she was gone.
yeah, they were just taking the report at this point and never put two and two together. And also never looked for her until January 9th, 2010. So
Okay.
4 months later is when they conducted a search.
Okay, I'm sorry. She was reported missing when?
September 17th.
So what happened between the 7th September and January?
Oh, nothing was being done. In January 9th of 2010, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department conducted a huge search. Los Angeles Sheriff's Department came in, conducted a huge search for her. It was one of the largest searches in the history of that police department. There were more than 300 volunteers. They searched 18 square miles of the Malibu Canyon, and Mitrice was not found in that search. On June 5th and 6th of 2010, another search was conducted. This one included the help of Maurice Dubois, the father of Amber Dubois, who was a murdered teen. He helped Mitrice's dad, Michael, run a 2-day search in the Monte Nido area of Malibu Canyon, where she was last seen. At that time, over 100 volunteers came in and helped with this search. She was not found during the search, but graffiti of racial slurs and sexually offensive content was found during that search. It
Wow.
was fresh and there was paint cans and other evidence left behind. So apparently somebody was not happy that they were searching for her.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So finally, 11 months after her disappearance, Mitrice Richardson's remains were found on August 9th, 2010. California Rangers were hiking in Dark Canyon searching for a marijuana farm run by Mexican drug cartels. And this is when they found Mitrice's body. Her body was naked and partially mummified. Her skull and spinal cord were detached from the rest of her body.
Oh my goodness.
Right. All right. Because of the location of where her body was found in a ravine, the the homicide detectives, had to be airlifted into the ravine because there was no access to it. And, uh huh.
So if they had to be airlifted into that remote location, it's possible that that's why she wasn't found on any of the searches.
Right. Because apparently she was where it wasn't easily accessible by foot, I'm assuming.
But then that brings up another question. I mean, I'm not sure if you have this information, but the rangers who were searching for the marijuana farm, how they get there? Were they airlifted into that area?
I'm thinking they must have been. I'm not positive, but I'm thinking they must have been because the cartels are probably airlifting themselves into,
True.
there to do the marijuana farm because it's somewhere that they know people can't just get there.
Right. Right.
So, but this is where things got a little iffy with the detective work.
Okay.
So it was kind of late in the day whenever they went down there, and they couldn't get the coroner there before the sun went down. So they assured Mitrice's mom and family that they would leave her remains and come back the next day with the coroner. Well, they didn't. They took the remains up with them into with the helicopter. They airlifted the remains before the coroner was there to assess the crime scene. Right.
What
So,
this is another case of them telling the mom, Latrice is her name, right? The mom,
right,
Matrice's mom, telling Latrice something and then doing the complete opposite of what they said they would do.
right. And it's just a cycle of this with her, with giving her, assuring her things and doing the complete opposite. So the coroner, Ed Winter, actually told them not to move the body, and they did anyway. So they went against the chief coroner, against them what the mom would have wanted, and they moved the body. The family was super upset, as they should be, and of course, possibly compromised the evidence.
Definitely. I mean, I know there are some instances where this is inevitable, they have to move it, especially like water, right? Yeah, they have to take
Yeah, once you
the
find it, you
remains.
gotta take it.
Right, you need to take it out. But if the coroner, I hope they took lots of pictures. Let's hope they did. But
Let's hope.
if they need to see the remains in how exactly they were found so they can assess it. And then, I mean, if I don't know if it was dark or not, you said it was getting late. Did they take pictures? Did they search the surrounding area for evidence? Like, it just seems like a kind of a
Sloppy work.
investigation. Yeah.
Because if her body was there for 11 months, a few more nights wouldn't have changed much.
Not
So
really.
it you know
Not
so
really, honestly.
the coroner the coroner's team, they still didn't make it down that ravine for another 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So once they got there, they found 9 more bones. So the detectives didn't even take all the bones. So imagine being the family and being told more of your daughter is down there.
More remains are right.
Right.
I wouldn't trust him. I would need to go and search
Well, that's
grid by
exactly
grid
what they
myself.
did.
Okay.
That's exactly in November of 2010. Latrice, Mitrice's mom, and Lauren, her aunt, went to the site. On that day, they went there. They moved around some dirt, and they found a finger bone that was left behind. So imagine you're down there. You're already, not trusting this police work, and you're finding your own daughter's bone. I can't imagine.
No.
So they notified the coroner of this, and so the coroner went back down to the ravine, and he found more bones.
Oh, wow.
So the family at this point, they're angry, they're upset, of course, as they should be,
As they should be. Yeah.
because it shouldn't take 4 trips down there for them to collect all of the remains
Right.
in months apart from each other. So at this point, they have all of the remains, and the family is having a funeral. So on the day of the funeral, a forensic anthropologist, Clea Koff, went as she was helping with the family. She decided to conduct her own independent examination. As she opened the body bag, she discovered some of Mitrice's clothing that had never been sent to the lab for testing in the body bag.
I'm not sure who deserves the blame here. The police department, the coroner, I don't know.
I have no idea. Um, and the clothing was in a bag. It was in a bag in the body bag.
That's insane.
So the Richardson family, they filed several lawsuits against the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. And I think earlier I said Lost Pines Malibu Station, and it's actually Lost Hills. So I apologize if I said it incorrectly. But it's the Lost Hills Malibu station, sheriff station under the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. So
Okay.
they're just like a station under the sheriff's department. So the Richardson family sued the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for releasing Mitrice from jail, even though they claimed she was experiencing severe bipolar disorder at the time. So I'm not sure if she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder ahead of time. I haven't read anything on that, but it's a possibility. But obviously, she had something going on. She was having some type of episode, and they feel like the police department should not have released her in
Hmm.
that condition.
Especially since they determined themselves that she was not intoxicated or under the influence of any substances.
Right, exactly. That was
That should have given them a hint to her behavior being a little odd or erratic.
right. If you feel like she's not under the influence, then why is she behaving this way?
Right.
And
Right.
her mom told y'all this is not normal.
Especially if she's raising concerns about her daughter's mental health
Exactly.
to them, you would think that they would have been a little bit more, careful.
Right. So in 2011, her parents they filed their lawsuits separately, each of them. So in 2011, they were each awarded $450,000.
Wow.
Richardson's girlfriend, Mitrice's girlfriend, Tessa Moon, refutes the claims that Mitrice had any mental illness. So she says she didn't have any mental illness. So I don't know. I don't know. Mitrice's family also asked the California Attorney General's office to investigate the sheriff's department, their handling of the case, and eventually it was found that there wasn't enough evidence to support a prosecution of anyone. And the manner of death was never specified by the coroner. The Lost Hills Sheriff's Department insists that there is no evidence of foul play.
So
How,
I'm assuming
how
not.
did she get down to the ravine?
I'm assuming not classified as a homicide.
Not
How did she?
classified as a homicide.
How did she get into that area if people have to be flown in there, how did she get in there?
That's a question. That
And
is a question.
how did she end up naked?
She was naked. She was naked. I mean, I myself feel like it was foul play. But if I was to play devil's advocate and say, um, was it cold at night in September? Was there hypothermia where she, you know,
Stripped
was
off
so
her
cold
clothes.
that she got hot and started taking her clothes off?
Yeah.
Um, Still doesn't answer how she got down the ravine. Is there a way that she can fall down there? I don't know. But that all feels unlikely to me. I don't know.
I just feel like there's so many possibilities because did she stumble upon the people who painted the racial graffiti?
Well,
Did
that
she
was fresh when they found her, when they
oh
were
when they
looking for her body. So that was a long time later.
but did okay, did she stumble upon this marijuana
Farm, a
farm?
cartel member.
Right. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. So I do want to just read off. There were some changes in the policy because of Mitrice's case, and I just want to read all that off. So Sheriff Alex Villanueva, upon taking office in 2019, met with the family and friends of Richardson Mitrice. Villanueva said that the department had changed its procedures since Mitrice's disappearance, which occurred while Lee Baca was sheriff. The department does not wait to take missing person reports for adults, and it makes sure that people have their cell phones and personal property returned to them before they are released from jail.
I mean,
You would think that would be
right.
common sense, right?
But I'm glad that he put it in place that this
Right.
is now official policy.
The latest information on the reward, it was updated in March of 2022 from $10,000 to $20,000 reward. So that's all I got, Celine, on Mitrice Richardson.
I'm sorry, but this case is kind of disappointing, I guess you can say. Um, if she would not have been released that night, it's a totally different outcome. Or we know that your belongings are locked up in your car. Call her a cab, escort her home. Like there's just so many different things that could have happened.
Right. And I feel like the police felt like it wasn't their responsibility. We're releasing you, by go do whatever you do. But just as a human, as a cop, even if they feel like there's no responsibility, just as a human, you would think that you wouldn't put a young woman just to the street, especially when you've spoken to her mom and you know that she does not know where she's at and she has nowhere to go. You knew that you released her without her having a phone, without her being able to contact anyone once she left that building. So I feel like just as a human, that was just
It was after
inhumane.
midnight. It was dark. She was in a place that she wasn't familiar with. It's nighttime. She no phone, no car. It's this is insane to me.
It is, and it just takes a small amount of humanity to say I will not put a 24-year-old woman out on the street who has been having some type of mental episode. Like, it's no way y'all didn't know this. The cops spoke to the restaurant workers, and they told them she's not acting. They were concerned for her mental well being,
Mm-hmm.
so it was understood.
Well, although, like you said, this has been, featured a bit, it's always good to kind of revisit older cases and just put it back into, rotation into the spotlight, get some
Right.
new eyes on it, things like that. So, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and that's all that I would hope is that, we can ignite
New interests.
new interest in this case.
Yeah.
So that's all I have today. If you guys are know any, let's keep the conversation going in the comment section. If you've heard this case, let's discuss. If you haven't, we still will discuss. And we'll have all the information down below on who to contact if you have any information regarding the disappearance and murder or passing of Mitrice Richardson.
Yeah, definitely leave post in the comments, let us know, do you think that this case was handled as well as it should have been handled? Do you think there's was foul play, possibly a homicide, or do you agree with, the coroner's report, things like that? Let us know in the comments. Like Crystal said, let's keep the conversation going.
Right. And as always, y'all don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit that bell notification so you can be notified every time that we post a new video, a new case, which will be weekly.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Mystery Mugs and Melanin. We hope you all have a great day and be safe. Bye.